You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
Korea is projected to remain the world's dominant memory supplier through 2031. 5 of America's biggest tech companies are carrying $1.09 trillion in lease commitments that never show up as debt. SpaceX grew revenue 92% last quarter, and its shares still fell more than 7% after hours on capital spending fears. The US Treasury Secretary just linked the Korean won's weakness directly to Japan's currency interventions. It's Thursday, August 6th. Here's why global investors are paying attention to Korea today. Global memory demand is being reshaped by US-China tech competition, with Washington's export controls pushing American consumption share higher and Chinese share lower. At the same time, US big tech's AI infrastructure build-out is generating financial exposure that isn't fully visible in reported balance sheets. Currency policy has entered the mix too, as the US Treasury moves to manage yen weakness before it spreads across Asian currencies, including the won. Here's what the numbers show. The US share of global memory chip consumption rose 15 percentage points, climbing from 37% in 2021 to 52% last year, while China's share fell from 35% to 29% over the same stretch, according to Yole Group. Nvidia's HBM market share is projected to fall to 58% this year, down from 66% last year, as hyperscalers shift toward custom ASIC chips. SpaceX's capital expenditure hit $18.4 billion last quarter, a 6-fold jump from a year earlier, with $15.8 billion of that going directly into AI infrastructure, and shares fell more than 7% in after-hours trading on the spending concern. SpaceX still posted $7.8 billion in quarterly revenue, up 92% year-on-year, and above the $6.93 billion consensus estimate. Big Tech's undisclosed lease obligations total $1.09 trillion, nearly 4 times the $285 billion already recognized as lease liabilities on their books, per Reuters. Oracle alone carries $260 billion in undisclosed leases, about 7 times its recognized lease liabilities of $37.89 billion. The US flagged Korea, Japan, and China as currency watchlist countries last month, and Treasury Secretary Bessent has since tied the won's weakness directly to yen depreciation. So what does this mean for global investors? Earlier, we said Korea is projected to stay the dominant memory supplier through 2031. Here's what that actually means for you. With US demand accelerating and Chinese share shrinking, Korean memory makers sit closer to the center of the AI supply chain, not the periphery. The bigger risk sits in US tech balance sheets. $1 trillion in off-balance sheet lease exposure means AI capex risk is larger than headline debt figures suggest, and Korean suppliers tied to that capex cycle carry the same exposure indirectly. Currency policy adds a layer worth tracking. Won weakness tied to yen moves affects both FX hedging costs and won-denominated equity returns for foreign holders. That's today's AI Prism, Global Investors. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a 1-IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.